And I just make sure that I'm not live streaming. Okay, good. Because I don't want that. Hello and welcome. This is the third 9-month course. It's really nice to see familiar faces and new faces, some who I have had the privilege of being in contact with but not actually seeing in class. So welcome and thank you for giving me this opportunity to be on your journey for the next 9 months. During the month, we will have another 1-hour class, which I would like to make the time available for Victor, who's in Singapore, because he never gets to come to class because it's like 2 a.m. or something now. So I would like to make that 1-hour class accessible to him also in his time zone, and I will get back to you with some times on that. It will probably be in 2 weeks' time, around Saturday, Sunday, so do let me know if there's going to be a problem with that. And that will be a question and answer class. So if there's anything that you are struggling with during the practice by yourself, then make a note and we can look at it and go through it together in that Q&A class, okay? So I don't know how many of you have read my book that I wrote, which was called Behind the Cosmic Dancer. And it's basically got a lot to do with this Dance of Shiva, obviously. So I have recently written an article which kind of is a synopsis of the book. And as it will be the basis of what we will be working with theoretically, which we then will apply practically, I thought I'd read that article so that it gives you a little bit of a framework. And actually, it's kind of got bits of absolutely everything that we need to look at. So feel free to, take any notes, and if you have any questions, feel free to also write them down, and we can have a look at them. Okay. So this is Watkins' Mind, Body and Spirit magazine. It's based in the UK, and the article is called Divine Choreography, the Transformative Power of Shiva's Dance. In Hindu mythology, Shiva is revered as yogi par excellence. With the surging popularity of yoga in the past decade, it's no wonder that his image as Lord of the Dance has attained an iconic status. Forming part of a trinity alongside the gods Brahma and Vishnu, they represent the creation, Brahma, preservation, Vishnu, and destruction, Shiva, of the universe. Just an aside there. So it's commonly known, those three actions of creation, preservation, and destruction are also known as the unfoldment, the maintenance of that unfoldment, and then the reabsorption back into the absolute. Okay, that's another way of viewing those three stages. Okay. While the Hindu pantheon comprises many gods, each with their own mythologies and responsibilities, they are all believed to be manifestations of one God. This can be a confusing concept to grasp. A concise way to describe it is that one person can fulfill multiple roles for different people. We can be a mother or father to our children, a sister or brother to our siblings, and simultaneously be a daughter or a son to our parents, all while remaining just one person. Within the cult of Shiva, which dates back to the 5th century BCE, Shiva embodies all three aspects related to the functioning of the universe. So if you were going to look at a text which had Vishnu as the godhead, Vishnu would then also take that role. So it just depends on which cult or which text you're reading. In addition to these three actions, he is said to embody two more: the veiling of reality, also known as Maya or illusion, and its unveiling, which represents his grace. These 5 divine acts are exemplified within the dancing image surrounded by a circle of flames. With one hand, he plays his drum, heralding the beginning of a new cycle. The drum, through its connection to sound, rhythm, and time, serves as the primary force of manifestation. With another hand displaying the fear not gesture, he reassures humanity and maintains his creation. With a third hand, he has many, he holds the fire of dissolution, through which he reabsorbs into himself his manifestation before a new cycle can begin again. Now, in a couple of months down the line, we will be looking at the Ananda Tandava, where we will be displaying these images, the fire in one hand, the drum in another. But we'll wait a little bit for that. His right foot crushes the demon of forgetfulness, who symbolizes our veiling from the primordial reality. This serves as an instruction for all to remember their true nature, no different from the pure consciousness and bliss of the Godhead. This realization is granted by his grace, depicted by his left foot raised and pointing down towards all beings. Again, that will be within the Ananda Tandava. While on the human plane, these actions seem to occur consecutively, because we're talking time-space continuum, on the divine plane, a state beyond space and time, they occur simultaneously and eternally, for the end is in the beginning and the beginning is in the end. As evolution progresses, the new absorbs elements from the old, extracting from it what is needed. It is a process which occurs from the smallest to the largest scale. We see it from cell production to the birth of new civilizations. As new ideas replace old ones, the preceding worldview gradually fades, for both cannot coexist. Shiva's 5 acts are responsible for the perpetual ebb and flow of all life, an expression of all transient phenomena. The dance expresses the succession of time in rhythmic sequential patterns of contraction and expansion, visible between day and night, the tides, the seasons, and planetary orbits. In case I forget, I want to come back to the expansion and contraction, very important. The perpetual swing of the pendulum, marking the movement back and forth between two opposing forces, serves as an expression of being bound to the wheel of existence, for it never comes to rest. It is a constant state of conflict. Too much of one force will inevitably become its opposite. For instance, if one heads north and on reaching the North Pole continues, they will be heading south again. The opposing force will always be triggered as a counterbalance, because we're always looking for that still point. And so, even if it's a tiny movement backwards and forwards, if there is movement, the balance is not quite there. And then that balance, that nothingness or that silence is the void. There's nothing going on there. Well, that's the divine state. The answer to this mystical dilemma is hinted at by our cosmic dancer. At first glance, it is easy to overlook that the figure is androgyne, but with closer inspection, one can see that in his right ear, he is wearing a masculine earring and a feminine earring in his left. On a subtle level, Shiva's masculine aspect is transcendent and is symbolized by his unwavering vertical axis. This is contrasted by his dynamic feminine aspect, responsible for bringing the cosmos into existence. embodied by his whirling limbs. It symbolizes his ability to remain detached from the external drama. This balancing of both genders signifies the peaceful equanimity available to the one who ventures beyond the world of duality. So, if you look at, a cross, you have the vertical axis and then you have the horizontal axis, and you have, let's say, +3. So that would be off center by 3. So what would you have to do? You would have to take a -3 to find the 0, which is the shunyata, that void point, which is that divine place. I'm just putting that in there because we'll come back to that. This balancing of both genders signifies the peaceful equanimity available to the one who ventures beyond the world of duality. If there is an equal amount of two opposing forces, they cancel each other out, resulting in stillness. On a human level, this is the removal of agitation, a precursor to a state of harmony and bliss, which is a godly state. For those of us who wish to experience the blissful state of the divine, Shiva assures us that it is possible, attainable through the constant inner adjustment of finding the gap between the dualistic moving energies of expansion and contraction. It is the neutral between positive and negative, the present which sits between past and future, the reciprocal relationship between give and take, going beyond yes and no, and the idea of right and wrong. Once the center of two forces is located, movement of conflict ceases. Neti neti. Has anyone heard of that term? Neti neti? Neti neti? Okay, actually means na iti, which is not this, not that. And then with the rules of Sanskrit, it become the a and the I become an e. So it's neti neti. Not this, not that. So the only way that you can really describe divinity, you can't describe divinity in any other way other than by what it is not. So neti neti, a Sanskrit term used to describe the numinous, meaning not this, not that, hints at the supreme state that lies within this gap. A useful image of finding balance between two opposing forces is that of a manual car on an incline. To maintain the vehicle at a still point, both clutch and accelerator must be engaged simultaneously. So even though there's a lot of energy used to hold that stillness, there is no movement. Okay? The balanced tension between both holds the car stationary through significant effort, though significant effort is required to maintain this equilibrium. This effort generates heat, the primary ingredient of transformation. Fire is the essential element that changes the state of any substance. For example, raw food transforms into cooked food and clay to ceramic through the application of heat. It's also tapas. In terms of human experience, it implies forfeiting something which leads to the manifestation of something else. For it is only through one's own efforts that change can come about. The exertion generates the heat needed to burn the agitations of the mind, which block us from experiencing the true reality. Through the body, it is accessible by locating the midpoint of each limb and creating an equal amount of tension between them so that no limb compensates for another. Through the breath, it is found in the retention, the space between inhale and exhale. Thoughts, emotions, and actions become the fuel for transformation, the sacrificial payment required to qualify one's position within the cosmos. Transcendence is found at the junction between two opposites. At the intersection of pleasure and pain lies the realization that they are the same. For behind pleasure lurks the anxiety of losing it. In that space, amidst the painful impermanence of the empirical world of duality, is the opportunity for the self to experience its divine true nature. Shiva's fierce dance, then, is not to be feared, for he is dancing to destroy the elusive world of duality. With his fire, he consumes the ego and shatters the illusion of the individual experience to grant access, with his grace, to the conscious state of universal abundance. His message, therefore, is that through spiritual exertion, striving for balance and harmony in our deeds of the mind and body, we too can participate in Shiva's cosmic dance. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of, like, you know, what the dance or what the icon that we see so often stands for. Like, you know, we look at the icon and what do we see? What do we actually see? You know, what is behind that icon? So his message for all of us, does anyone want to jump in and say anything about what they think his message is? It doesn't have to be correct. Nobody? Grant.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, hi everybody, I have the camera over here, but your faces are here. What I'm hearing in that study, and your question was about the symbolism of Shiva and the representation of what we're studying, yeah?
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is that the midpoint, the balance point, is the canceling out of the opposites. So there's both. It's dynamic, is what I'm hearing, and that with equal parts of dynamism, there's the middle space opens up. So that's what I received from that.
Thank you, Grant. So we have the vertical axis, which is immovable. So if we look at divinity, at least within Indian texts, divinity is described always as infinite, immovable. All the descriptions are of something which is beyond. So it's transcendent. It's never ending, you know, and that is beyond the third 3D reality. So Shakti, which is still part of Shiva, is brought in to manifestation through the will of the divine to create. This is the unfoldment. So everything exists in this, you could even say, this cosmic egg. And in that cosmic egg is pure potential. It's pure, it can be anything because it's not concrete yet. It doesn't exist, but it exists in pure potentiality. And so when you get the first stirring, this is a nothingness. There's no movement. There's nothing. It's beyond everything. The first stirring creates this kind of movement, and that movement already is the beginning. It's like a throbbing, and that throbbing is the beginning of the unfoldment. And then as the universe unfolds, the first three tattvas that come into existence are expressed as the three Shaktis, the primal Shaktis, which are will, knowledge, and action. Because without those three, you can't really do anything. Those are the three that you need. They are the matrix of everything else. And So then you have the unfoldment. After those first three, so from the one, you get two, and then you get the many. Just like a ray of light, it passes through this crack, and then you have all the colors that are split. So it's still one, like the many gods are just one, are many different sides of the same one. And so first you have those three: will, action, and knowledge. And then from there, you start to have many, many, many variables. And as the variables increase, the luminous, the complete bright light of that absolute becomes diminished. So every time there is another layer of unfoldment, there is a veil that is put in front of the absolute. So you now can't see as clearly, like a mirror that is very, very dirty and needs polishing, you see? And then only then can you really see the truth, the true reality. Otherwise, it's all a little bit of the reality. So anyway, so this is the transcendent, which you'll see in most of the dance positions, which are mostly done on one leg. You will see that the vertical axis, which is where all the gods reside in a state of transcendence. So, you know, there's like a word, sometimes when you read the texts, they don't even, they'll say something, they'll just say a word like, I can't think of the term right now, something murti maya. So all the gods existing on this line. And so they won't mention this line, but it means this line, because that's where they all exist. And hence, you know, you have a lot of symbolism where every chakra has something inside it, but they all live here. And then the Shakti is spread this way. So the unfoldment is thrown out horizontally and then brought back into the center. And the reason why this image is important is because when you work with the limbs, you can work the limbs in exactly the same fashion with this mental idea to bring the stability in the spine. Because really, like, you know, sometimes it's called Sumeru or Mount Meru. Mount Meru is the spine. And this spine in the micro universe, i.e. the microcosmos, we need that spine to be free, you know, and that freedom of the spine comes from the limbs working correctly. How do the limbs work correctly? So if we go back to this idea of contraction and expansion, because another thing that's important to remember is that everything in the universe is actually a fractal. So what happens on the micro is happening on the macro. What's happening on the macro is happening on the micro. So maybe some of you have heard of Gurdjieff. He said that in knowing the universe, you know the self, and in knowing the self, you know the universe, and it means just that. So if you pick something, if you understand the small, you stand it on the grander scale. And you can and that's very big in Tantra. They use a lot of microcosm, macrocosm analogies, yeah? So, so coming back to the expansion and contraction, that space of nothingness exists between the movements of expanding, unfoldment, and contraction, dissolution, or reabsorption. And like, if you just look at the breath is doing this, life is doing this. When you walk up a mountain, if you're trying to, if you're going for high altitude, you don't just go straight up. You have to kind of go up, then you come down a little bit, then you go up, and you go down a bit, and then you go like this, and this is how you stabilize. So this idea of expansion and contraction can also be applied to your limbs. Yeah, so if you think of the freedom of the spine, and then you have 8 limbs in the sense of you have 2 arms, 2 legs, but within 1 arm you have 2 limbs. You have the forearm, and then you have the upper arm here, and in the middle you have where they join. And so if you think about an equal expansion and an equal contraction in the limbs, it means that every limb is active. And is active, you want the limbs to be active equally. So any injuries, any limb that is stronger than the other, we need to even it out. And this evening out of the limbs will give you the freedom that you need in the spine. And that will give you stability. So, we can just, before we begin the class, which we will begin soon now, if you, just as you're sitting, if you just really rest your hands on your knees, it doesn't matter for now, just to get an idea, and then we'll apply it when we stand. So if you just start with the upper arms, because they're the easiest, if you just draw the upper arms towards the shoulder sockets. Now, if you only do the one action, so if I only do this, then I'm going to have tension in the shoulders. So then I have to find that 0, okay? So that 0 is however much I draw up, I have to equally push away. So contraction to the center, and then expansion away from the center with the lower limb. So you're thinking upper arms moving into the shoulder sockets. Simultaneously, you're drawing the forearms away from the elbow. And then as you make this action, what you're doing is you're going to start to feel stability from the equal pull and push, which frees the neck. And then if you continue this in the legs, so if we start with the thighs pulling up into the hip sockets and simultaneously drawing the shins in the opposite direction, you start to feel that the spine releases. Yeah? And so have a go. So just try from there. I mean, it's quite an active thing to do, yeah? And once you've got those 2 actions, you start to get space in your spine. Feel that? You feeling that a little bit? Yeah, you feel that. I mean, it gets deeper, but let's just begin there, because then you have to work with the hands and the feet, but let's just forget about those for now and work with just that, okay? So that is the idea. We are going to take the grand idea and we're going to translate it into the body. And as we translate it into the body, you don't have any mental space. There's no mental space. And when you have no mental space to think, then you have peace. So there's no conflict. It's, all conflict is generated through mental activity. So that's as much as I think we should work with today. And we should now try and translate that into a position, into a practice. Yeah, Mary Claire, let me unmute you. And Grant, I'm just trying to, can you mute you? I've got you, I've done you. Okay, so Mary Claire.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi there.
Hi there. Thank you so much for this. This is great. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really worked this way, so I know it's definitely going to create some heat. So the elbow joint and the knee joint, and thinking of moving away from there's such dense spots and kind of opaque, it feels for me. So I guess I'm just wondering if that's kind of normal at first. I mean, I can pull the femur, and I can pull the humerus in quite easily. But to think of releasing from there at the same time,
Yeah.
I feel compact. I feel my spine react and my navel react, but I'm not feeling a lot of reaction down here yet at all. I mean, I know we
That-
just tried it, but
Yeah, no, but that's really good feedback because it's, you see, the absolute, if we're looking in terms of that, is complete luminosity. That's what it is. It's pure light. And so in the beginning, what we're aiming for pure light. So now you have light in the upper arms, and it's kind of natural that you're not going to have light everywhere. So you're slowly building an internal landscape. The panorama needs to open up, and it will open up over, with time. So what happens is that you get it somewhere and you lose it somewhere else, and it's just a mental thing because you have to divide your attention. So, and then you go to the new area and you lose it in the other area, and that's fine. And that is literally the beginning. That is how it begins. And then of course you might just be able to do the arms, but you can't do the legs simultaneously. So then you do the legs and then you can't do the arms. And that is part of the practice. So I do hope that you will be practicing over the month with the recording, and so you'll be able to slowly cultivate it. And you know what? It can take over a year. It can take a long time. So, and that's part of the process, because then you're also looking at how you learn. So that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Thanks, Marie Claire. Anyone else have anything to say? Any questions? You want to start? Shall we start standing? We're going to start standing, and we'll just start with the warm-ups, and then after the warm-ups I'm going to give you a stance. And in the stance, that's where we're going to sort of like have a little bit more space to understand the limbs, okay? Because you don't have to move. When you move, you then start to lose your attention on the limbs. Whereas when you're standing in a stance, you have much more space to understand and observe and investigate, okay? So let's just start. I'm just going to put this a little bit higher. We'll start with the standing warm-ups. So just let me know if you can't see me very well, because to see all of you, I can't see myself really very well. So, okay. Feel free to unmute if you need to tell me anything, because the screen is tiny. So we're going to start with the heels together and the toes a little bit separate. So the feet are like this. Okay. We've got the hands one on top of the other, just below the navel, and starting to stack the body onto the spine. So for that, we need the head to really be right over the spinal column. So ears in line with the shoulders. And as you draw the ears over the shoulders, you feel that the weight of the body is dropping down into the heels. Now, it's important that if you lock the knee joint, you need to try and soften the knee. If you don't soften the knee, what happens is the weight of the upper body will not get to the feet. The weight of the upper body will just propel back up into the lower back. So if you do have a tendency to hyperextend, like I have, you'll have to bend a tiny bit more than normal. Tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, just behind the front teeth. Soften the tongue and make the tongue widen. And as you widen the tongue, you'll feel that you can't have a tense tongue. So you're widening the tongue. Big toes press, outer heels press, and as you press those 2 points, the arch of the foot will rise. Make sure, Andrea, make sure that the head is not collapsing forward. So ears in line with the shoulders, base of the skull lifting. And just as we stand here, even before we do the warm-ups, just connect to those points that I've told you already. So you have to be soft in the palms. Like let the upper arms draw to the shoulder socket and already notice how the upper body responds to that action and how you get release in the lizard brain. You get space in the back of the neck, eyes soft. Forearms are drawing simultaneously, the forearms are drawing towards their wrists. And notice more space in the neck. And then just make sure that the weight of the body is falling evenly on the feet. So you're not leaning too far forward or back. Again, press the big toe. Thighs are drawing up while the shins draw down. And notice how it's difficult to have passive legs now if you keep this action. Watch the breath. Just make a mental note of what it's like for you. And then release the hands. We do the warm-up. So foot pointing backwards, circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Feet together. Hands just above the knees, fingers turned in, bending and straightening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Coming up, hip width apart with the feet. Circling the hip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Back to center. Soften the knees, swing the arms. 1. Hip stays forward. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wrists interlacing the fingers. I'll just come down so you can see better. So the fingers are interlaced facing down. Pull the elbows up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Press the palms on the thighs. Press the thigh against the palm, just to keep the shoulders passive, and circles on the ceiling with the crown of the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Back to center. Inhale the arms up, and as you inhale the arms up, think down into the feet. Elbows wide down the front line of the body. Press down, think up to the ceiling. Holding out. Inhale to the feet. Elbows wide. Push, exhale. Holding out. Inhale. Exhale, push. Now we go straight into the stance. So the feet are already hip width apart, feet face forwards, and we're bending the knee, okay? So I'll show you from the side as well, but I'll just show you from the front here. So the elbows are in alignment with their shoulder. So the hands are like so. It's a bit like you're holding two balloons, yeah? And so this ring finger and the thumb, they're not pulling like so, but they're just, it's as if they're attracted to each other slightly, yeah? So you need to, so from the side, the arms are like this, yeah? So there's a bend here. And as you bend here, you're not flexing the hand so much, but you're thinking of the back of the hand here, drawing towards the forearm, so that it's not over exaggerated. Yeah? So this is the arm. And then, so Emily, a little bit higher with your hands. And then the legs, hip width apart, you're bending the knee. Now you have to use the weight of the body dropping down into the feet to ascertain where the rest of the body should be situated. So, Kevin, you need to bend the knees. Paula, a little bit more of a bend, please. So, Grant, a little bit higher with the hands. Emily, a bit further away from you with the hands. Move the hands a bit further forward. Okay, can you turn to the side a little bit so I can... Okay, yeah. Everyone bending the knee. Mary Claire, you're fine. Okay, nothing's going to happen unless the knee bends. Everyone needs to bend the knee more. Okay, now, Emily, how's your back? Because the last time we met, you had a back issue. All right, good. So you need to just make the lower ribs passive. So everyone take the hands to the lower ribs and just gently draw them down towards the hip bone, very slightly. And as you do that, you will feel that it's not sticking up like this. Because if it sticks up like this, you're losing the space in the back of the body. The lower back will compress. So once you make that passive, then you bring the hands back. And once you make that passive and you get length in the lower back, you can then you'll get more space in the posterior spine, which you lengthen. Posterior spine, base of the skull lifts. Okay, and then ascertain what's going on in the feet again. So you have to go constantly forwards and back to find the position on the feet. And now observe your breathing. So some of you still need to bend the knee more. Kevin, Emily. Yeah, once you bend the knee, move the hip forward so the back side is not sticking out. So you're always looking shoulder over hip, hip over heel, ears over shoulders. And so obviously this is something that you will have to cultivate. We're all coming here at different levels, and that is okay. Okay? So if you absolutely need to straighten the leg, by all means straighten the leg. But first you gotta bend it. All right? Make sure the head is stacked on top of the spine and it's not leaning forward. Emily, you're leaning too far back with the shoulder now? Yes. Now allow the upper arms to pull into the shoulder socket. Draw the forearms away towards the wrists. Soften the eyes and draw the eyes back away from the opening. Kevin, Helen, Kay, you just pull the back of the hand a little bit more towards the forearm. So you're making a little bit more of a 90-degree angle between the forearm and the back of your hand. That's it. Yeah. Helen, drop the hands a little bit. Helen, drop the hands. Now, every time you're looking to keep space in the spine. I won't keep you here much longer, okay? And then you just practice this, you just start to build it a bit more. So think of the tailbone not tucking under but being heavy. Yeah, it's heavy. As it's heavy, so if you've got the weight of the upper body in the right place, naturally the tailbone is going to suck towards the floor. And as the tailbone is attracted to the floor, the navel sucks in. Because as the tailbone drops, the navel, the lower back is going to pull out behind you. Now, big toe presses, outer heel presses. And as those 2 points press, the knee faces forward. Base of the skull again lifting, just 2-3 more breaths. Soften the eyes, soften the tongue. Last breath. Release the hands, turn the right foot to about 12. Take the left leg back and come into Ardha Bhujangasana. Press the knees away from each other. If you have space, take the head back. And then from here come into Parshvottanasana. So straighten both legs. Now this is a really, really good position to find the expansion and contraction of both limbs, okay? So your hands are either on the floor or, if necessary, anywhere below that front knee. Wherever you've got the hands, just make sure that the chest is not caving in and that both legs are working evenly. Yeah, so the thighs now suck up into the hip socket, the upper arms suck up into the shoulder socket. Notice how the body responds, and move the shins down into the heels and the forearms into the wrists. So that back outer heel has to press down, and then get length in the spine. So think of the back of the neck. Think of the back of the neck being long. That means that the ears are in line with the shoulders. Don't let the head collapse, Grant. And now think of the chin moving towards, so for those of you who can get the chest on the leg there, get the chin down on the shin, press the back heel and look towards the foot. Keep looking towards the foot. Chaturanga up dog, Chaturanga down dog. Don't worry if it's not fully available today. Just work with what you've got. And then kick the left foot forward. Ardha Bhujanga. Soften the elbows. Try not to overextend in the chest. Let the fingers release down towards the floor. So Kevin here, keep the hands on the knees, no problem. Just draw the hip forward more, but keep the heel down. So Kay, with this position, you want to bring that front heel as close to the buttock as you can. So yeah, now the knee, without the heel lifting. Now the knee must be wide, otherwise there's no space in the knee, okay? Now get the weight in the back leg. So even though you've got the front leg bending, all your body weight is moving into the back leg. Head back if you have space. Coming into Parshvottanasana. Both legs straight, back heel down, hands anywhere below the front knee. So, if you need blocks, you can use blocks to have your hands on, no problem, okay? Just don't have your full body weight on them. So don't sort of like collapse on them, but just use them to propel your body back up in towards the spine. So back outer heel working. Those who can, get the chin onto the shin. Big front toe pressing, outer back heel pressing. And work here the thighs to the hip sockets and work the shins into the heels. Notice what happens in the hip and how the spine releases, and play the same game with the arms. Soften the tongue. Kick back, Chaturanga up dog, Chaturanga down dog. Is everyone familiar with the, just raise your hand if you're not familiar with the turning of the Ardha Bhujanga into the sun salute. You know it, right, Emily? You don't remember? You used to do it. Okay. All right, no problem. Oh, okay. Right, Mary Claire as well, you haven't done it? Okay, so we're going to do it now. We do it now so that you can practice it for next month, because then we're going to build on this as well, okay? So right leg, I'll show you. Those who can do it, you just do it with me, okay? Those who need to watch, they can watch. So you've got your Ardha Bhujanga. Now, also, it's really important to remember that the knee is wide, following the foot, slightly out to the side, but that heel is the key to safe knees. Okay, so the heel must stay down whatever happens. Even if it means that you've got your hands on the floor for a couple of months, that's fine. Yeah, now the knees move away from each other because then you get strength in the legs as you move them and the hip drops. If possible, the head drops back. Now we pivot on the ball of this front foot so the buttock and the heel stay close. Pivot, turning to the back leg. Left leg is the now front leg and the left arm is behind as a continuation. The foot turns in and then we move across Ardha Bhujanga on that left leg. So same thing here. Heel down, knees moving away from each other, weight in the back leg, head drops back if possible. Not necessary if there's an issue. Pivot on the ball of the front foot. Forward bend over the right leg now. Move across. This is one half a cycle, chaturanga in a moment. Chaturanga up dog, chaturanga down dog, and changing legs. Do you remember that, Emily? You remember? You don't remember? You remember, yeah, okay. Mary Claire, you got that? Okay. So you might want to, those who can, you do the left leg, I want to watch. Those who can, you do the left leg. And if you need to, that's it. Just watch if you need to, okay? So here, Emily, you need to pull that heel, left heel needs to be closer to your buttocks. Yes. And then pivot. So as I said in the write-up, the first 3 months we will be going through stuff to prep for the rest of the course, okay? So anything that needs looking at should be looked at in the first 3 months. Once you come back to the front, chaturanga up dog, chaturanga down dog. Any questions so far? No, okay, let's do it again. So that right leg forward. Mary Claire, you're okay? Right leg forward? Yeah, okay. Right leg forward, we do it again. When you're ready, pivot on the ball of the right foot, forward bend over the back leg. Left hand is behind you, chin on the shin if possible. Move across. Ardha Bhujangasana, left leg forward, sink the hip, move the knees away from each other, head back, one breath. Pivot, forward bend over the right leg. Yeah, that's correct, Emily. Go back there. That's it. Left hand on the floor, right hand behind you, chin on the shin. Forward bend over that leg, yes. Now move forward into Ardha Bhujangasana. Good. And then chaturanga up dog, chaturanga down dog. Soften the tongue. And left leg coming forward. Sink the hip. Head back. Pivot. Forward bend. Move across. Kevin, you're okay?
Yeah, I just haven't seen it before. Just have to watch it again.
Okay, no problem.
No problem.
Pivot. Emily, pivot. That's it. Turn to your left. Yeah, yeah. Left hand behind chin on the shin. Move across. Chaturanga up dog. Chaturanga down dog. Exhale fully. Step or jump forward. Mary Claire, you're okay?
Yeah, I should just watch because I'm confused as to, I see us going side to side, but I'm not sure where to integrate the chaturanga up dog. You
Right.
know.
Okay. So I'm going to do it with those who know how to do it and those who need to watch. So we do it. We do one more cycle together. Everyone who knows how to do it can do it. And those who need to watch, you watch the full cycle. Okay. And then obviously you can do it. You've got the recording because we'll move on from here. Okay. So let's just start in downward facing dog for those who can. So join me if you can. Come into dog pose. Release the chin, press the heels down. Right leg comes forward, sink the hip. So if necessary, hands can be on the knee, and then you're working towards the fingers to the floor, head back. Pivoting on the ball of the right foot, forward bend over the left leg. So we're moving backwards. Move across. Ardha Bhujangasana facing the back. One breath, head back. From here, we're going to go back to face the front. So we're pivoting again. Forward bend. Move across. So we're facing the front again. Head back. Chaturanga up dog. Chaturanga down dog. That's half a cycle, so we've done the right leg only. Left leg coming forward. Sink. Head back. Pivot. Forward bend. Move across. Head back, pivot. So we're facing the front again. Forward bend. Move across. Ardha Bhujanga, head back. Chaturanga up dog. Chaturanga down dog. Pause there. Pause in downward facing dog. Is that better? Yeah? We'll come back to this in a second. So from here, exhale fully, step or jump forward. Look up on the inhale. Uttanasana on the exhale. Palms together, come up to standing. Straight up. And release. So now, okay, so I should just give you a preamble. Most of the stuff in the dance is on one leg. So that's the excuse for the next position. So the next position, I'll show you from the front and then I'll show you from the side. Bending the front leg, actually I'll show you from the side. Bending the front leg. Right foot sits on left thigh. Palms in prayer position. It's really important that you don't do this. Okay? See the difference? You got, actually, hold on. Let me just go back a bit. It's really important that you always look at having the shoulder over the hip, hip over the ankle. Yeah? So you've got to be careful not to be here. We need hip over ankle, shoulder over hip, palms in prayer position, ears in line with the shoulders. Okay? And now you see what will help you is the expansion and contraction of the limbs. So, right foot sitting on the thigh. Now here, you really have to bend the standing leg. Yes. Soften the eyes. Now, I'll just give you a little bit of freedom here because I can't gauge everyone, but just when you need to kick the leg back, just do an Ardha Bhujanga. It was kind of like a nice release. Just do an Ardha Bhujanga and then switch legs. You can come back up into Uttanasana. Yeah, optional Chaturanga, no problem, carry on. And then left foot on top of right thigh. Okay, Andrea, here, you've got to try and get the foot, yeah, exactly. That's it. Now, there are pointers here, but it's nice to kind of explore them yourself, at least for a couple of weeks. And if you're still struggling, we can look at the possibilities of making it a bit more efficient as a pose. Yeah? So, Ardha Bhujanga in your own time. Tongue soft, switching legs again, right foot on the left. Yeah. So you're using your feet to tell you where the rest of the body is, okay? Part of your attention has to be on the foot at all times. Okay, try and get that right knee facing more upwards. So the sole of the foot is pressing down onto the thigh rather than on the groin. So try and have the foot upwards, not to the side. And then kick the leg back. Ardha Bhujangasana. And if you've got space in that thigh, you can turn and grab that back foot and pull the foot into the hip. Don't worry if you can't. Just for those who can. Yeah? And Grant, move the left knee forward more. Yeah. And switch sides. So, left foot now on top of right. Find the suction point between the thigh and the foot. And make sure that standing leg is bent. And then Kevin, just think about the ears. Draw the ears back a little bit so they're in line with, yeah. And then release. Whatever you did on side 1, do on this side 2. Arminda, look at the back knee. And then release. Chaturanga up dog, Chaturanga down dog. When you're ready, come into Uttanasana, step or jump forward. Look up, inhale, forward bend as you exhale, palms together, and release. So I give you another balancing position, which is really good cultivation for next month. And most of you have done this because we do it in class a lot. But we're going to work it a little bit now. So the heels, as we started at the beginning, the heels are together and the toes are separate. And then we're bending the knees and we're coming into this stance where the knees are bent, heels stay touching, and then the hands come into Padma Mudra. So if you've seen the black and white dance, this is the beginning position, yeah? So the heels of the hand are together, the little fingers touch, the thumbs touch, and you have to be careful that you're not doing this, yeah? It is a lotus, Padma, so you have to really open the petals. And then the heel of the hand comes to the breastplate. You'll feel it in the forearms, okay? And so this is the position. And then the knees are bent. And then you're stacking. So again, ears in line with the shoulders. Base of the skull lifts. And as you lift the base of the skull, notice how you get length in the posterior spine, especially from the navel down to the tailbone, which draws weight into the base. Big toes press. Eyes soften and move away from their openings. And then again, the tongue is wide so that it softens. Now here you have to be careful that, because you've got this new hand position for some, you have to be careful that there's no tension in the shoulders. And one way to make sure of that is to have a gap between the side of your body and the upper arm, the inside of the upper arm there. And you can do that by pressing the elbow forward. Just press the elbow, allow the elbow to go down and forward. And that will always give you space in the shoulder. Helen, your shoulders are crunchy. Get the root of the thumb down into the breastplate, and then draw the wrist forward, draw the elbow forward. Again, Emily, got to be careful that you're leaning back a little bit with the shoulders, yeah? And so, Emily, for you always, you just get your hands on those lower front ribs and draw them in. That's it. So you need that space in the lower back. Okay, now feel the weight in the feet. And, as I said, we're just cultivating. Some of you have been working this for longer and will be able to stay longer. Those, if you need a break, you just take a break until the leg gets used to this position. This is a very common position in the practice, okay? Look at the upper arms. Pull them into those shoulder sockets. Draw those forearms to the wrists. And notice how those two actions will really also help you find the center of the position. So you've got the heels of the hand that draw towards each other, And as the heels of the hand draw towards each other, it will propel naturally the upper arm back into the shoulder socket, which then frees the whole spine, cervical and thoracic. Eyes soft. Now, if you can, you keep the legs as they are. You release the hands, and you're going to, so the knees stay bent, you're going to shift the weight to the left leg and take hold of the right leg. So you lift the right leg and you take the right arm underneath that knee. And then you hold the right hand with the left hand, just holding it. Stack the head right on the spine. And as you stack the head onto the spine, you will feel the weight go down into that standing leg. Relax that right foot. And find that still point between forwards and back, side to side. See if you can bring the knee right up into the chest. Relax that right foot. Pay attention to the foot that's on the floor, how the weight shifts, big toe pressing, outer heel pressing for stability. Not much longer. Okay, you can kick that leg back into Ardha Bhujangasana. And when you're ready, pivot. So go through the whole motion. Forward bend over the right, which leg? So people are doing different legs. Whichever leg is behind you, no problem. Turn. Ardha Bhujanga facing the back, then turn, forward bend. Don't worry about, just use your own rhythm. That's it. Ardha Bhujangasana. Chaturanga up dog, chaturanga down dog. And exhale, fully step or jump forward. Look up, inhale, Uttanasana as you exhale. Palms together, inhale, coming up. Release, exhale, back into the stance with the knees bent, heels together. Shift the weight to the right leg, take hold of the left. And pause. Each side is going to be different, so just observe the differences. make a mental note. Grant, you can bend the knee more. Standing knee, bend. Helen, head back. I think it's your jumper. Can't see very well. So, Kevin, you're just going to cultivate lifting the knee higher. Don't worry if you can't right now, but relax that top foot. Not much longer. Careful, Andrea, you're leaning a little bit. Press the standing leg a little bit more. Kick the leg back. Ardha Bhujangasana. Go through the turn, moving across. When you're ready, turn back. Chaturanga up dog, chaturanga down dog, optional. And then when you're ready, you jump wide into Prasarita Padottanasana, so wide angled forward bend. If you're comfortable in this position, take the trunk between the legs, just go for it. And interlace the fingers behind the back, let the little fingers come towards the floor. If you need the support of the hands, by all means keep the hands on the floor to help you. Whichever position you're in, make sure that the inner ankles are lifting. So as the inner ankle lifts, the outer ankle releases down towards the heel. And then press the foot down to engage the whole leg. So vertically press the foot down. Kevin, keep the hands on the floor just to help the legs a little bit. Okay. From here, you come into Mandukasana. So, in case you're not familiar, your knees are wide. Toes are pointing towards each other and you're sitting in front of the feet. Yeah. If you need, you can take a brick and just until the feet open. Yeah. If you need to, you sit on the brick. Once the feet start to open, then you get rid of the brick. Now you're pulling on the knees and you're resisting with the knee pressing into the hand. So there's always this pull-push, expansion and contraction to release the spinal column. See if you can get space in the spine just from the pulling and the pushing of the hands on the knees. Palms together, slide the hands forward. Bring the chest towards the floor. Inhale, come up. Just do a little twist now. So let's do Ardha Matsyendrasana. Swing the legs through. So right leg over, left leg under. So build the pose to where you can. If you can take the upper arm across, take the upper arm across. If you need to press the hand on the floor behind you, do so. If possible, the hand comes to the knee or the foot, but don't feel like you have to get there today. Let's just release in the twist. Inhale, exhale, turn to look behind. Make sure that both sitting bones are on the floor. Use the inhale to lengthen the spine. Use the exhale to turn. So every inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, turn to look behind the right shoulder. If your upper arm is bent against that leg, then you use it to press like this. If it's too intense, just hug the leg. And release and switch. Make sure that that big front toe is down, because that big front toe, the pressing of the big front toe is what initiates the base of the twist. So if that toe is lax, then you lose a little bit more of the turn. Spine long on the inhale, turning on the exhale. Spine long on the inhale, turning on the exhale. Use the back hand to keep the spine long. Ears turn, eyes turn, chin turns, everything turns. Navel back. And then release. Come into Paschimottanasana. Grab the big toes, inhale, lean back. Exhale, coming forwards. Kevin, that's fine. Don't let the head drop. Just think of the breastbone moving to the chin. So every inhale, you're just moving your breastbone to the chin, and that will take it deeper into the legs. Make sure the chest is not collapsing. The navel is moving to the tailbone. The toes are moving to the navel. As the toes move to the navel, the heels move away, giving you a little bit of a deeper position in the legs. And also press the heels down. If the elbows are on the floor, widen them. And then move the chin towards the feet. Suck the thighs into the hips, move the shins to the heels. And then release. Come up, release in Purvottanasana or a tabletop. So either take the hands to the floor and come up into a tabletop, or go into the full pose with the legs straight, Lift the hip more if you're in a tabletop, And then release. Coming down. I want to introduce the hand movements. So for the first 3 months, so that we're not doing the actual, we're just going to introduce some of they're called hastamatrikas. So what we do in the actual dance, these are the arm movements of that. So as we go along, once you've got the arm movements, the leg movements will be easier to grasp rather than me giving them to you both at the same time. So the ideal position to do them is going to be in Samasuchi, which is knees wide, toes tucked under, and sitting on the heels like this. Okay, this is the ideal position. If it gets too much, you can release and point the toes away and sit down. But as much as you can, if you can, please try and sit on the toes. So we've already done Padma Mudra. I understand also that you might have to watch the movement, yeah? So feel free. And in fact, I might just get closer so that you can see the arms. So the first position, we start in Padma Mudra. And if you pay attention to the heels of your hand, that's where they're going to be moving. So I'm not doing your mirror here. Okay, so you have to mentally activate your right brain, left brain situation to not copy me, all right? It's very, very healthy to do that. So shoulders over the hips. The first movement from here, the heels of the hand pivot towards each other, and you have this action. The right hand is like so. This is flag palm, Danda Hasta. The elbow is about the same height as the shoulder, like this. So you've got to be careful that it's not here, it's more there. And it's not this, but you really want to pull it back like that. Okay? So, Dandahasta, flag palm. Gajahasta, elephant palm. So here the thumb is touching the root of the ring finger, and the wrist, the back of the wrist here is pushing away, and it's the back of the wrist there that is straightening the elbow. So the movement goes to the right, pivot on the heels of the hand, Dandahasta and Gajahasta. Gajahasta in the left, Dandahasta in the right. And they sit there. It can be movable, but right now we're just going to be here, okay? So the left arm is across the body. And my immovable vertical axis is still in the central axis, no movement there, okay? Head doesn't move, faces forward. Then we turn the palms to face us as they cross. Now the wrists are going to move again. The action is at the wrist where they turn. Right hand goes into Gajahasta, left hand goes into Dandahasta. So again, palms face, the arms cross, they come in front of you. The wrists are sort of touching. Left hand goes into Gajahasta, elephant palm. Right hand is in Dandahasta, flag palm. Palms come facing, turning. Gajahasta in the right, Dandahasta in the left. Switch. Palms face, elbows bend. Moving to the right. Dandahasta in the right, Gajahasta left. Switch. and switch. And switch. So I'll let you do it. I'm just going to watch. I need you to pay attention, especially those who have done this before. Your aim is to keep the vertical axis in your awareness completely straight. So there's no movement there. All right, so where are we now? We're on the right. Everyone on the right. So Kevin, just lift the elbow a little bit, yeah? And then moving the other way. Palms cross. Moving to the left. Shoulders down, Emily. Yeah. And switch. Palms face you. So the waist is turning the arms, but your immovable axis doesn't move. Facing forward. And bend. And switch. To the left. Soften the eyes. And switch. Pay attention to that elbow and switch. And switch. And switch. Vertical axis. And switch. Everyone good with this? And switch. And switch. And switch. Last one for a moment. You can release the legs. Interlace the fingers, just come into a squat there, because if you're not used to Samasuchi, it's not a very friendly pose. Yeah, so interlace the fingers, go into a squat, widen the feet, just go into squat and place the palms down so the feet are down, flat, get the heels down, press the palms down to the floor and keep the spine straight. Ears back. Kevin, widen the feet. So you can have the heels down, have the hands on the floor. So you widen the feet as much as you need to have the heels on the floor. Don't let the heels be up. This means that your feet can be as wide as necessary. Now come into the spine. Let the tailbone drop. Breastbone lifting to the chin. So Kevin, you just keep the hip higher. Keep the hip higher until the hip gets used to it. Okay, and you can even have your hands pressing down onto a brick. You know, anything that gives you that space, that's it. Now look at the pull and push in the legs. You can even think of the knees lifting to give you more of a depth in the hip. Widen the feet into Prasarita Padottanasana. Some of you go into a little bit more of a Samakhanasana position. So, box splits. Kevin, wide angle forward bend. Hands on the floor, yeah. Those who can. All right, if you're going into Samakhanasana, look forwards. Yeah, press the foot down. Chaturanga up dog, Chaturanga down dog. we do one more of the Hasta Matrikas, and then we put the two together, and then we finish up, okay? So I just touch on the second one, so that when we do it more next time, it's already there, okay? So the next one, I'll just connect the two. So we've got, these are the hands for Talasam Sportitam. Don't worry about the names right now. So we come across, Gajahasta in the right, flag palm left. From there, it's as if you're going to repeat. So you take the arms across, and then instead of repeating, you turn more to the right. Release the hands and take the arms up. Now the backs of the hands are going to touch, like so. And the fingers are coming down this way, okay? But you're facing the right. Then the left hand comes to the opposite, so the hand closest to the screen is towards the right shoulder, and the right arm is going to turn, is going to swipe down and turn, so that the left hand goes back into this position as you turn to the other side. Then you release the hands and you lift the arms again. So the right hand touches the left shoulder as the left arm swipes. Hands turn, they go back into the palms facing you with the arms crossed. The hands drop and go up. Swiping. Hands release and go up. Swiping. Release and go up. So I'll speak it for you. You're on the right side, the arms are up, elbows are a little bent, so you turn to the right. Now your right arm is going to point to the ceiling, your left hand is going to touch the right shoulder with the palm facing the arm. Then you swipe that right arm, and as your body turns to face the front, the arm is still swiping and this hand turns. So it's already getting into position for this, which happens when you face the other side. Then you release the hands and take the arms up again. So the furthest arm away lifts up, the right hand faces opposite shoulder, swipe, swipe, turn the hand, cross the arms, release the hands, take the arms up. I just want to watch. Swipe. That's it, turning, turning. Release, take the arms up. Swipe, turning, turning, turning. Release the hands. Take the arms up, backs of the hands touch. Yes. And swipe. Turning the waist, good. Face the left, release the hands, take the backs of the arms down and then up. And then release. So make sense? Those make sense? Should we just put those two together? Just put those two together so we start from here. So yes, I know if you need to change your foot position, you can. But if you can manage, it's not much longer. Talasam Sportitam. So from here, the heels of the hand pivot, Dandahasta, Gajahasta, to the right. Andrea, right. Switch, take the arms across, turn, turn. Gajahasta in the right, Dandahasta in the left. Then, as if you're repeating, bring the arms across the body, turn to your right, release the hands down, take the arms up and let the backs of the heels of the hand touch. So wrists are touching. Then swipe, so left hand touches right shoulder, swipe the right arm, turn the hand, cross the arms, release the hands once you face left, take the arms up. Swipe and come to center. And then release. Chaturanga up, Chaturanga down, swing through. Bhavan Muktasana, so lying on your back, forehead and backs of the hands touching. Forehead and knees touching. Let the arms go out into a T shape. Take the knees one way and the other. Yeah. So shoulders down. Keep the shoulders down as you look in the opposite direction. So the palm presses. Yeah? As you press the palm down, it's going to take the knees further over. Now bring the legs up and switch. Come back to center. Straighten the legs up to the ceiling. Keep the hip down. So the lower back is down, the legs are straight up to the ceiling. Buttocks down, palms together, and you're pointing the fingertips to the inner ankles. And keep that, so then bring the inner ankles towards the fingertips without the buttocks lifting. That's it. Chin is in. Bring the chin into the throat. And then release. Shavasana. Scrape the heels along the floor. So that you get as much back space in your back as you can. Shavasana, Kevin. Pay attention to the bones that are in contact with the floor and allow them to become heavy. Let the tongue relax widthways. Let the eyes rest back in their sockets towards the floor. And then just allow the individual self to disintegrate for the last few minutes. Bring your awareness into the room that you're in. Make the breath thin and long as you bring the breath into the body and let it spread towards the peripheries of the being. And when you exhale, exhale really thinly and long, completely, so that when the inhale happens, it occurs by itself. Roll over to the left and rest there. Come to sitting. Let your body just adjust in this upright position. Palms together, inhale, breastbone lifting. Exhale, chin releasing. Let the eyes gently open and adjust. And release. So as I said, we build the first 3 months. We're just going to really build a foundation. There will continue to be theory and practical, and we'll add a little bit more as we go. In 2 weeks' time, we will have the question and answer session, and I'll be in touch soon as to when that will be. So please take notes and please do practice it, because obviously the more you practice, the further we will go. Yeah? Otherwise we'll end up not going very far. So it's up to you. And any questions, please do send them through, or hold on to them and send them before the next class, before the Q&A, okay? But feel free to be in touch when you want to, okay? All right, it's nice to meet you and see some of you. Have a nice rest of the weekend. Bye-bye. Oh, I should also say